I never thought I would be sharing something like this, but here I am, trying to make sense of a heartbreaking turn of events that happened just days before what was supposed to be the happiest moment of my life. I'm a 31-year-old software developer from Denver, and my world fell apart right before my wedding. I met my fiancée 4 years ago at a local coffee shop. She was sitting at a table, working on her laptop, when I accidentally spilled my coffee nearby. Instead of getting angry, she helped me clean it up, and we ended up talking for hours. We bonded over our shared love of music, movies, and hiking. It was an unexpected connection that quickly turned into something more meaningful. We kept running into each other at the same coffee shop, and eventually, I found the courage to ask her out. The following year passed by like a dream. We moved in together and adopted a cat we named Shadow. Life felt perfect. We spent our weekends hiking, hosted game nights with friends, and enjoyed quiet evenings cooking together. 3 years into our relationship, during a sunset hike at our favorite spot, I proposed. She said yes, and we started planning our future. We chose a beautiful mountain lodge as our wedding venue, selected our favorite local restaurants for catering, and invited around 120 guests. Her parents were extremely generous, covering most of the expenses, while my family helped with planning and hosted an incredible engagement party. Both families got along wonderfully, which made everything feel even more special. The wedding was scheduled for the past weekend. Guests had flown in from all over the country, and hotel rooms were booked. The rehearsal dinner was planned for Friday evening, and the excitement was building. But then, just 2 days before the wedding, my world collapsed. I was home that Thursday, double-checking honeymoon plans, when I received a call from my friend Kai. He works downtown and had seen my fiancé entering a hotel with another man. At first, I tried to dismiss it, convincing myself it might be a relative or an old friend. But when Kai described how they were holding hands and kissing, my heart sank. That wasn't a friendly gesture. I drove to the hotel, parked across the street, and waited. An hour later, I saw them leave together. They were laughing, holding hands, and kissing in a way that confirmed everything Kai had told me. I felt sick watching her, my fiancée, the woman I was supposed to marry in 2 days, being so close and affectionate with another man. When she came home that evening, she acted like everything was fine. She talked about last-minute wedding details and how excited she was. I let her finish, then quietly asked, "Who is he?" The color drained from her face. She tried to deny it at first, but when I told her Kai had seen them and that I had watched them leave the hotel, she broke down in tears. She explained that he was someone she knew from college, and they had reconnected a few months ago through social media. What followed was a confusing mix of apologies, explanations, and excuses. She claimed it was only physical, that it didn't mean anything, and that she still loved me and wanted to marry me. But I couldn't even look at her. The trust was completely broken. I told her to leave. The wedding was canceled. She left, and I sat in our apartment, surrounded by wedding gifts, decorations, and plans for a future that no longer existed. I felt numb. Then came the anger. I thought about all the time, effort, and money spent on the wedding. I thought about the guests who had traveled from near and far, the life we had planned, the love I believed we shared. I started making calls, first to our parents, then to the wedding planner. I sent a message to all the guests explaining that the wedding was canceled because of her unfaithfulness. Looking back, sending that message was probably impulsive, but at the time, I just wanted people to know the truth. The days that followed were chaotic. Her parents called and texted constantly, switching between apologizing for her actions and defending her. My family was furious, deeply hurt after welcoming her into our lives for 4 years. Some of her friends sent angry messages, saying I shouldn't have told everyone what happened. But some of our mutual friends supported my decision and shared their disappointment in her. The financial mess was another nightmare. Her parents demanded the wedding money back, but most of it was non-refundable. There was even talk of legal action, which added more stress. I couldn't stay in our apartment. It was filled with too many memories. So I moved back in with my parents, taking Shadow with me. My parents were incredible, making sure I ate and offering quiet support. After 2 weeks of ignoring her calls, I finally agreed to meet her in a park near our old place. She looked different, tired, unkempt, not like the woman I used to know. As soon as she saw me, she broke down crying and apologized again. She told me more about the man, how they had met at a work conference months before the wedding, how one thing led to another, and how they had been secretly seeing each other. She swore it was over and begged me for another chance. For a moment, seeing her in tears made me want to comfort her. But then I remembered how she kissed him outside that hotel. The lies she told while we planned our wedding. The trust was gone. And I knew I could never get that trust back. I couldn't live with constant doubt, always wondering if she was truly at work or secretly meeting someone else. I told her I appreciated the apology, but I just couldn't forgive her. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I walked away. Eventually, we managed to sort out the financial mess. We met at a coffee shop downtown and worked out an agreement. I would cover the cost of my own things, my suit, the groomsmen's suits, and a few other personal expenses. Her parents would handle her costs and the shared wedding expenses, like the venue and food. It was awkward and tense, but at least it was resolved. Kai kept checking in on me, making sure I was coping. It's been weeks now, but the emotional wounds are still there. I'm still trying to process everything, but deep down, I know I made the right choice. Now, I just have to find a way to move forward and rebuild my life from this heartbreak. I didn't spend my days sulking or drowning in self-pity. Instead, my friend dragged me out to play basketball or grab a beer. Slowly, other friends began reaching out too, inviting me to join their plans and helping me stay distracted. I'm incredibly thankful for their support, whether it was listening when I needed to talk or pulling me into something fun when I just needed to forget for a while. After taking some much-needed time off, I returned to work. It was a refreshing change of pace, and having something to focus on helped clear my head. I threw myself into new projects, sometimes staying late at the office just to keep my mind busy. My boss was very understanding and even offered me the chance to lead an exciting new project. That gave me something to look forward to and helped shift my focus to something productive. A month has passed now, and things are slowly getting better. I'm still living at my parents' house, but I've started looking for my own place. Having Shadow with me has brought so much comfort. It's nice having a companion who just wants to snuggle, offering love without questions or judgment. The situation with friends is still a bit complicated. Some took sides, which was never my intention. A few of her close friends sent hurtful messages, blaming me for embarrassing her by telling the truth about the affair. However, most of our mutual friends have been completely supportive. Some even told me they no longer speak to her because they couldn't respect what she did. There were so many little things I had to take care of, things I never imagined. I had to return wedding gifts, cancel honeymoon bookings, inform people who weren't on the guest list but knew about the wedding, and even take care of small tasks like updating my emergency contact at work and removing her from my phone plan. It's strange how deeply your lives become intertwined after years together, and how many loose ends you have to deal with when it all falls apart. I decided to start seeing a therapist to help me sort through everything. At first, I didn't think I needed it, but talking to someone who wasn't emotionally involved turned out to be incredibly helpful. My therapist helped me understand that it's okay to still feel hurt and angry, but it's also important to focus on healing and moving forward. I've also started thinking more seriously about my future. Before everything happened, my world revolved around the wedding and our shared plans. Now, I'm learning to create goals just for myself. I've been thinking about enrolling in advanced programming courses I'd put off for years, and maybe even going on that solo trip to Japan I've always dreamed of. Looking back, I realized that sending that message to all the guests about the cheating wasn't the most mature decision. In that moment, I was acting out of pain and anger. But honestly, I don't completely regret it. Maybe there was a better way to handle it, but I'm only human, and I was in a situation I never expected to face. Some days are still difficult. There are moments when I see something that reminds me of her, or when I think of calling her to share something, only to remember I can't do that anymore. But those moments are becoming less frequent. I'm beginning to have whole days when she doesn't cross my mind, and that feels like progress. The The hardest part now is handling questions about dating. People keep asking when I'll start seeing someone new, but honestly, I'm not ready for that yet. Right now, I'm focused on rebuilding my life on my own terms. I'm learning to enjoy my own company again and becoming more at peace with being alone. If there's one thing I've learned through all of this, it's that life doesn't always go the way you planned. Just a few months ago, I thought I knew exactly what my future looked like. Now, everything has changed.
But maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I'm beginning to see this as a chance to reshape my life, to rebuild it in a way that truly fits who I am. If you're going through something similar, just know that it does get better. It doesn't happen overnight, and the process can be slow, but things will improve. Lean on the people who care about you. Keep yourself busy. And remember, it's okay to not be okay. Your future might not look like what you imagined, but that doesn't mean it can't still be beautiful.